Welcome to our presentation on promoting gender equality in higher education institutions. This PBL is done by Hafsa, Jen, and Hunter.
We will now be showcasing our imagined scenario for this PBL based on our research.
Our main character in this scenario is Alex, a cis male who uses the pronouns they, them, theirs. Alex has not come out at school yet, so they are constantly afraid of judgment towards them, as their family has judged them in the past.
Our main PBL challenge for this project is how might we promote greater inclusion for individuals like Alex who identify as non-binary and other students who identify as trans through actions, education, and awareness for students and faculty in higher education settings. We found that in recent decades, 2S LGBTQ+ inclusion in higher education settings has taken more priority, and more institutions are implementing policies which help push the institution closer to true equality. Many countries have changed rules and regulations to include the 2S LGBTQ+ community. Despite being recognized now more than ever, many groups within the community still face discrimination and prejudice, including the trans and non-binary community, who struggle with acceptance and inclusion in environments such as school or the workplace.
An exploratory study done by Abby Goldberg reveals that although almost 45% of participants reported that they had gender-neutral washrooms in their buildings, the majority of answers at 47% reported no presence of gender-neutral washrooms, leading to a lack of accommodation or support for a majority of the participants in the study. As well, 8% of the participants reported that they did not know whether or not they had a gender-neutral washroom, which could be due to a lack of support from the school.
As inclusion is considered one of the most prevalent struggles in the 2S LGBTQ+ community, it is made clear that trans and non-binary people find it the hardest to be accepted. There is a prevalent problem when it comes to basic facilities, as trans and non-binary people feel uncomfortable using gender-specific washrooms and have to use accessible washrooms, leaving them to feel as if they're taking away needed facilities from people with disabilities. Discussions surrounding gender-neutral washroom design continues to be overlooked, with many buildings still lacking gender-neutral washrooms, or the number of gender-neutral washrooms and their locations are not sufficient enough for equal access. Gender-segregated washrooms are an institutional feature that excludes non-binary individuals and may expose them to harassment. Having access to gender-neutral washrooms alleviates anxiety among trans and non-binary individuals.
We will now discuss a possible solution we can implement based on the research we did on the main problem areas we discussed before. In this section, we will use a storyboard to illustrate the solution and how we will be implementing it. The storyboard will go from top left to bottom right in order. Our solution to the PBL problem is called Ease of Access for All. Its goal is to implement gender-neutral washrooms in higher education campuses. The main character in this scenario is Alex. They are non-binary and their preferred pronouns are they, them, and theirs. Secondary characters include university faculty, disability students, and others who identify under the 2S LGBTQ+ spectrum. The main pain point we will address is that non-binary and trans individuals and disabled individuals are separate minorities and should not be categorized in the same group. The other pain point that should be brought up is that the lack of inclusion in terms of accessibility of washroom facilities for students who identify as non-binary or trans. The problem to be solved here is that there are minimal or sometimes no washroom facilities at higher education campuses for non-binary and trans individuals.
In the first panel, Alex needs to use the washroom, but doesn't know if they should use the men's or women's washroom since they identify as non-binary. They feel that either choice is wrong and they wouldn't be completely comfortable in either. In the second panel, Alex then decides to go use the accessible washroom for some privacy, but has to walk at least 5 minutes to get there as there is only one on campus. They also feel like they are taking away a necessity from students with disabilities. In the third panel, Alex feels frustrated and confused that they have to go through all of this just to use the washroom, which should be easily accessible to everyone. They wonder what they can do to improve the situation. In the fourth panel, Alex decides to reach out to the university's counselors and faculty about their problem. They show their genuine concern and frustration regarding the washroom facilities on campus for non-binary and trans students. In the fifth panel, it is then decided that there will be a conference or speech to put light to the problem and ask for other students and faculty opinions. There will be speakers with the same concerns as Alex. In the sixth panel, important members of the university, such as the president, will gather and discuss possible options of what they can do to solve this problem. In the seventh panel, a few months later, either additional facilities will be installed or previous ones will be modified to suit the needs of the trans and non-binary students and faculty of the university.
The outcome of this solution is that Alex now has a personalized washroom facility they can use without feeling like they are taking away from others. They also get privacy by this and feel a sense of inclusion. Ease of access for all has quite a high value to users as it gives trans and non-binary students their personal facilities that they won't need to feel bad about using and can feel safe in a private area just for them. The downside is that installing new facilities or renovating old ones can become very costly and takes a lot of time to implement. A possible solution could be renovating other washroom facilities such as extra men's or women's washrooms that are not in use as much, making the process much quicker and less cost heavy. The downside to this is that the washroom facilities will be taken away from other students, even if those facilities were not used as often as others. Our research made us more aware of the fact that the installation of gender-neutral facilities does require more money and time from the higher education facility and school board. Nevertheless, it is important to consider the well-being of all students, which means that there should be accessibility for facilities that will accommodate students who identify as non-binary or trans. They should not have to use facilities that are designated for the disabled students or be categorized as such.
A solution in order for Alex and other students to have their voices be heard and represented would be to form a gay-straight alliance. These student-led clubs allow for a community to be built and an opportunity for both brave spaces and safe spaces to be created. As well, this creates a place in the school where queer students can bring up issues that affect them in the school and sends a message that those who feel oppressed can come together to advocate. Paula Ferry, pioneer in the field of critical pedagogy, was strongly against teachers' only role being that of relaying information and having students bank what they have learned for later use. In his book, The Pedagogy of the Oppressed, Ferry dedicates an entire section dedicated to love, saying that it and unity are key, not only allowing teaching to properly take place, as love is a conscious action that consists of care, respect, honesty, listening, and humility and solidarity. And by applying love to teaching, it can allow students to redistribute this love and unity to a larger level in their community. As well, with this love and unity, it allows students to become aware of their class and privilege and how they can help themselves and others unite in an effort to fight oppression and create social change.
Overall, this project has allowed us to understand how to identify members of a growing community. We were able to learn more about the disparities faced by the 2S LGBTQ community and now have better knowledge on opinions and various perspectives. With the information that we collected, it is evidence that current campus culture lacks awareness and education on 2S LGBTQ issues. This includes, but is not limited to, uninformed students or discriminating beliefs, lack of appropriate services available, and many other inclusion-related dilemmas. This project has allowed us to realize the importance of campus inclusion as it facilitates healthy students that are able to express themselves in a safe environment. It is essential for the efficacy and productivity of students. All in all, changes need to happen so that all members of campus communities feel comfortable and involved.
Thank you for viewing our presentation.